He had no money. He didn't have a new car. He wasn't the most handsome guy in the room. But all the women around him seemed magnetized, unable to look away. While other men spent fortunes on expensive gifts, he earned absolute attention without spending a single cent. The secret? Something that 99% of men will never discover because they are obsessed with the completely wrong strategy. The truth about female attraction has been distorted. You grew up believing you needed a sculpted body, a strong bank account, and an enviable lifestyle to spark genuine interest. But that is only the surface of an illusion that keeps millions of men trapped in an endless cycle of frustration. They work, sweat, invest in appearances, accumulate material achievements, and still watch women fall hopelessly in love with men who don't have even half of those things. There is an invisible force operating behind the scenes of attraction. An energy that completely transcends what you see in the mirror or on a bank statement. Women aren't lying when they say personality matters, but the personality they are truly attracted to isn't about being funny or kind. It's about something much deeper, something that messes with their brain chemistry in a way no expensive gift can replicate. When a woman meets a man, she makes an instant evaluation. It's not conscious. It's not rational. It happens in milliseconds, even before she logically processes any information. In that crucial moment, her brain is asking one fundamental question: is this man above me or below me? The answer to that question determines everything that comes after. If the answer is below, it doesn't matter how many zeros you have in your bank account. If the answer is above, you've just planted the seed of what many call obsession. But here's the problem no one told you: this evaluation has nothing to do with your objective achievements. A man can be a millionaire, athletic and well-dressed, yet still be categorized as below. While another can be average in all these areas but emanates something that makes her brain fire off all the above signals. This difference lies in the internal state, not the external circumstances. Your internal state is who you are when no one is watching. It's the relationship you have with yourself away from the spotlight, the cameras, and the people you try to impress. It's the level of peace you feel within your own skin. And women detect this with frightening precision. They feel when you're trying to prove something. They feel when you need their validation to feel valuable. They feel when your confidence is a facade built on fragile foundations. The need for validation is the silent killer of attraction. When you seek female approval to feel good about yourself, you're signaling that she has power over your emotional state. And no one feels attracted to someone who puts them on a pedestal. The pedestal creates distance, not connection. It creates pressure, not lightness. The woman on the pedestal feels the suffocating responsibility of keeping your ego inflated, and that kills any possibility of genuine desire. Think of how many times you've seen a man do everything for a woman. He responds to messages instantly, cancels plans to be available, compliments excessively, tries to guess what she wants to hear, and her attraction simply evaporates. It's not because he was being too nice. It's because each of those actions communicated a subconscious message: you are more important than I am. I need you more than you need me. Now imagine the opposite. A man who lives his life with his own purpose. Who has interests that fascinate him regardless of external approval. Who can look into the eyes of a beautiful woman and remain completely centered, without destabilizing. Who doesn't change his behavior to impress. This man communicates something radically different: I am valuable on my own. Your presence is welcome, but not necessary for my wholeness. If you're enjoying understanding these patterns that no one explains clearly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. We need to spread this information to more people who are tired of superficial strategies that don't work. The emotional dependence some women develop for certain men is not an accident. It's not luck. It's the natural consequence of a specific energetic dynamic. When she meets a man who doesn't need her but chooses to be with her, something changes in her brain. The primitive part, which evolved over millions of years to identify high-value partners, lights up like a Christmas tree. This man becomes a challenge. Not because he's playing games or being strategically distant, but because he genuinely has a rich, meaningful life that doesn't revolve around her. And the more she tries to pull him into her orbit, the more she realizes he has his own gravity. This natural resistance creates tension. And tension, when well calibrated, is fuel for intense attraction. What most men don't understand is that they are working in the opposite direction. They think that showing total availability will make them look interested and attentive. But the female brain interprets excessive availability as low value. If you're always available, you are communicating that nothing more important is happening in your life. And if nothing important is happening, why should she consider you important? Here's where the confusion happens. Women consciously say they want an attentive, present, communicative man. And they do want that, but only from a man they already categorized as above. When those same qualities come from a below man, they turn into weight, insistence, neediness. The same action, interpreted in radically different ways based on that invisible initial judgment. So the real challenge is not to be more attentive or less attentive. It's not about playing hard to get or pretending to be available. The real challenge is doing the internal work necessary to fundamentally change how you position yourself in the world. To become the kind of man she instantly categorizes as above, before you even open your mouth. Self-validation is the difference between a man who attracts and a man who begs. But understanding self-validation goes beyond simply not caring about other people's opinions. It's about having an internal value system so solid that compliments don't inflate you and criticism doesn't destroy you. When you depend on external approval to feel good, you've handed control of your happiness to other people. And that lost control shows itself in every gesture, every word, every look. Observe a self-validated man in a conversation. He doesn't fill every silence with nervous words. He doesn't constantly check if the other person is liking him. He doesn't change his posture or opinion based on her micro-facial expressions. He is anchored. And that anchor creates a sense of safety that the female brain interprets as true strength. Now compare him with a man who seeks validation. He tells stories to impress. Exaggerates achievements. Gets uncomfortable with pauses in conversation. Agrees with everything she says even when he thinks differently. He obsessively watches every reaction she has, adjusting his behavior in real time. Each of these micro-behaviors screams, "Please think I'm valuable. I need you to confirm that I'm good enough." Genuine presence amplifies all of this. Being present means you're not in the future planning what you'll say next, nor in the past rethinking what you just said. You're there, completely absorbed in the moment. This level of presence is so rare that when a woman experiences it, she feels truly seen for the first time in a long time. And being truly seen creates a connection that no seduction technique can fabricate. But here's the cruel paradox. You can't fake presence. You can't use it as a technique. The moment you try to be present to impress her, you've already left true presence and entered performance. Your brain is monitoring the effect you're having, which means you're not actually there. You're in your own mental show, evaluating your performance. Emotional stability completes this puzzle in ways most men don't fully understand. Women test. It's not malice. It's not conscious manipulation. It's an evolutionary instinct trying to verify whether your confidence is real or theatrical. She will say something provocative. She will suddenly create emotional distance. She will mention another man. She will take a long time to reply to messages. Each of these behaviors is an unspoken test. Are you going to lose your center? Are you going to get insecure? Are you going to start chasing? If you react, you fail. If you become anxious, possessive, needy, or irritated, you have just proven that your inner peace depends on her behavior. And that confirms the below categorization. But if you remain unshaken, keeping your emotional center independent of her storms, something fascinating happens. She realizes she can't control you. And what can't be controlled becomes infinitely more valuable. This stability doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means you can care without panicking. You can feel without being dominated by emotion. You can love without losing yourself. The difference is subtle but devastating in its effects. A desperate man suffocates. A stable man liberates. And freedom, ironically, is what creates her desire to stay close. Here enters the energetic polarity that few truly understand. It's not about men being insensitive robots and women being hysterical creatures. It's about each person being comfortable in their essence. Authentic masculine energy is directed, focused, stable like a mountain. Authentic feminine energy is fluid, emotional, changeable like water. When he stands firm in his masculinity, she can fully relax into her femininity. But when he wavers, when his energy becomes unstable and reactive, she unconsciously feels she needs to become the mountain. She needs to be the stable one while he floats. And when she takes on this masculine role, sexual attraction dies. She might still respect you, like you, but the visceral desire disappears. Because her brain wasn't programmed to feel attraction toward someone she needs to stabilize. Men spend decades chasing goals society has defined as success. New car, big house, impressive title, exotic trips. And they genuinely believe these achievements will solve their attraction problems. But then they reach all of that and discover they still feel empty. They are still treated as an option, not a priority. They still watch women fall madly in love with men who don't have a tenth of what they have. What's missing is not more external achievement. It's internal peace. It's accepting who you are now, not who you will be when you finally attain that next thing. It's stopping the habit of postponing your happiness until you reach an arbitrary standard. It's recognizing that you are already complete, and that growth should come from self-love, not self-rejection. This distinction is fundamental. You can work on improving yourself from two completely different places. You can improve because you hate yourself and need to be different to accept who you are. Or you can improve because you love yourself and want to express even more of your potential. The motivation seems similar on the surface, but the energy you emanate is radically different. And women feel this difference even without being able to articulate it. A man at peace with himself doesn't need to prove anything. He's not in a frantic race to compensate for internal inadequacies with external achievements. He can have ambition, he can pursue growth, but he's not running away from himself through those pursuits. He's expanding from a solid foundation, not trying to build a foundation through expansion. When she meets this man, something in her recognizes, this one doesn't need me to feel whole. And exactly because of that, I want to be close to him. It's contradictory to the logical mind. But it makes perfect sense to the evolutionary brain that governs attraction. Now we reach the crucial point where everything intensifies. Most men fail exactly here, at the moment she begins to show real interest. They interpret this interest as validation that they are finally doing something right, and immediately change their behavior. They start investing more, become more available, respond faster, and watch confused, as her interest evaporates as quickly as it appeared. What happened? They revealed that all that internal state was conditional, that their inner peace depended on receiving positive signals from her. The moment she showed interest, they relaxed their boundaries and became exactly the type of needy man she cannot respect. The mask fell, and underneath was the same neediness she detects in 95% of the men she meets. Here is the brutal truth no one wants to hear: if you change your behavior based on her level of interest, you never had a true internal state. You were just performing until you got the validation you desperately sought. And women have a supernatural radar for detecting this shift. They feel when you went from a complete man who doesn't need me to a relieved man who finally got my approval. Female emotional dependence only takes hold when there is absolute consistency. When he continues to be exactly who he was on day 1, day 10, day 100. When his behavior doesn't fluctuate based on her mood, physical proximity, or how long they've gone without speaking. This immutability creates something powerful: emotional predictability with behavioral unpredictability. Let that sink in. She needs to predict that you will always be emotionally stable, but she cannot predict exactly what you're going to do or say. You are the unshakable rock, but also surprising. You are not the guy she can manipulate with tears or silence, but you're also not boring or robotic. You have depth she never finishes exploring. This balance is where truly exceptional men operate. They maintain rich and interesting lives independent of the relationship. They have projects that fascinate them, friendships they value, moments of solitude they genuinely appreciate. They are not using these interests as a strategy to appear busy, but because they have truly built an existence that satisfies them deeply. When a woman realizes that she is not the center of his universe, but a valued part of an already complete life, something in her changes. She stops testing so much because the tests aren't working. She stops playing games because he clearly isn't playing back. And in that space where the games end, true vulnerability begins. Not the performative vulnerability of sharing calculated traumas, but the genuine vulnerability of lowering her guard because she finally feels safe. But here comes the twist few men expect. When she opens up completely, when she shows she is truly invested, that is exactly when you most need to maintain your center. Because her primitive brain will test one last time. It will create a crisis. It will pull away. It will do something that provokes a reaction. Not consciously, but instinctively. Because it needs absolute certainty that you won't crumble when she is in her most vulnerable state. Men who understand this remain unshaken. They don't get cold or punitive, but simply continue being who they always were. They keep living their lives with purpose. They continue treating her with respect without putting her on a pedestal. And when she sees that even her complete vulnerability does not destabilize him, something deep solidifies. The emotional dependence she develops is not toxic or unhealthy. It is the recognition that she has found something extremely rare, a truly solid man. Many will interpret this as playing games or being strategically manipulative. But it is exactly the opposite. Playing games is when you fake disinterest while internally you're desperate. Playing games is when you calculate every move to maximize attraction. What we are describing has nothing to do with strategic calculation. It is about genuinely becoming the type of person who doesn't need strategies, because your essence already communicates everything that needs to be communicated. Radical authenticity is your greatest asset. When you stop trying to be what you think she wants, and simply become more of who you really are, something magical happens. The right women come closer and the wrong ones drift away naturally. You stop attracting everyone and start attracting the right ones. And the quality of these connections surpasses any quantity of superficial attention. Think about how many men spend their entire lives wearing masks. The mask of the successful guy. The mask of the tough guy. The mask of the sensitive guy. Every interaction is a calculated performance. And the weight of maintaining these masks is exhausting. They never fully relax because they are always monitoring whether the mask is still in place. And ironically, all this effort to appear attractive is exactly what makes them repellent. Now imagine living without any mask at all. Saying what you truly think. Doing what you truly want. Pursuing what genuinely fascinates you. Some will reject you. Many won't understand you. But the ones who stay will be in love with the real version of you, not the performance. And this kind of connection doesn't require constant maintenance. It doesn't require you to remember which version of yourself this person met. Because there is only one version, the true one. So how do you actually implement all of this in your life? How do you move from theory to real transformation? It starts with a brutal audit of your motivations. Every time you do something, ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or because I'm trying to get approval? Am I sharing this achievement because I'm proud, or because I need external validation? Am I being kind because I care, or because I want to be seen as good? These questions will reveal how many of your daily actions are contaminated by the need for approval. And recognizing this is not a reason for shame. It is the first necessary step toward real change. You can't fix what you don't recognize as broken. Most men go their entire lives without doing this audit, so they remain unaware of the patterns that sabotage their connections. Actively practice self-validation. When you do something well, acknowledge it internally without needing to post it on social media. When you fail, process the lesson without seeking external consolation. Develop an internal voice that is your most reliable validator. This does not mean becoming arrogant or disconnected from external feedback. It means that external feedback informs you, but does not define you. Presence is cultivated through simple but profound practices. Turn off notifications. When you are with someone, truly be there. Practice listening without planning your response. Notice when your mind drifts to the past or future and gently bring it back to the now. Each moment of presence strengthens this muscle until it becomes your natural state. Modern Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions. It's about not being governed by them. Feel anger without letting it control your actions. Feel sadness without sinking into despair. Feel joy without depending on it for your inner peace. Emotions pass through you like waves, but you are the ocean, not the waves. This distinction changes everything. Define your own success. Sit down and write what success means to you, not to your parents, not to society, not to your ex-girlfriends. What truly matters to you? What kind of life would make you feel fulfilled regardless of external recognition? These answers will reveal your true north, and when you start navigating by it, your energy fundamentally changes. Build peace with where you are right now. Not the peace of resignation, but the peace of conscious acceptance. You can want to grow and still be at peace with your current situation. These two things are not contradictory. Growth motivated by self-love is sustainable. Growth motivated by self-hate is exhausting and never satisfies, because even when you improve, self-hate finds new reasons to continue. Here is the moral lesson that transcends relationships. This journey is not about manipulating women into feeling dependent on you. It's about becoming a man so fundamentally solid that you naturally attract respect and interest from everyone around you, not just women. It's about building a life so rich that relationships are complements, not the life itself. When you reach this state, something curious happens. You stop wondering whether she's interested because you no longer need that validation to feel good about yourself. You stop playing games because your life is too interesting to waste time on manipulative strategies. And ironically, it's exactly at this moment that you become more attractive than you've ever been. The healthy emotional dependence women develop for men like this is not about control or power. It's about recognizing genuine value. It's the same kind of dependence you have for an exceptional mentor, a true friend, anyone who elevates your life simply by being in it. It's not neediness. It's deep appreciation for something rare. But there is a heavy responsibility that comes with this power. When you develop these qualities, people will naturally gravitate toward you. They will seek your approval, your time, your attention. And you have a choice in how you use this influence. You can use it to feed your ego, manipulate vulnerabilities, or cause harm. Or you can use it to uplift, inspire, and create genuinely meaningful connections. The final test of your character is not how you act when you have no power. It's how you act when you do. Weak men fantasize about having power over women because they never had it. Strong men who actually have this power exercise it responsibly because they understand that with great influence comes great responsibility. So use this knowledge wisely. Not as a tool for manipulation, but as a map for your own development. Become the kind of man you yourself would respect. The kind of man who would make your mother proud. The kind of man your future children would want to emulate. And when you become that version of yourself, attraction happens naturally as a side effect of your genuine growth. If these ideas resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and like this video. Share it with other men who need to understand these truths. Because the more men operate this way, the better the world becomes for everyone. Healthier relationships. More authentic connections. Less games, more truth.